Let's go over some Spurs news to start your week and then bring in our guests to talk about the draft and if the Spurs should trade out of it.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from the Cybertron Spurs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you had a good weekend. Work week begins, but we'll get you through it right here on Locked On Spurs. Subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcast, Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, the Ken's 5 Plus app. Pick a platform. We are there 24/7. Just go hang out with us. All things silver and black. You guys are the everydayers. Hey, what are we talking about today? We're going to be looking at quickly some quick Spurs news just to catch you up on something you may have missed. And then we're going to bring in our guest, Joe Garcia of the Alamo City Sports Podcast Network. We're going to be discussing whether or not the Spurs should consider trading out of the NBA draft, and then catch up with some comments that you guys are leaving over at the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. All right, let's catch you up with some Spurs news that you may have missed. Hey, Devin Vassell has himself an exclusive clothing line. Yeah, he has it. Quietly, the Spurs released it on the fan shop. So you go there right now, you can check it out. It's called the We Hoopin' Vassell clothing line. So it includes like a varsity jacket, the chest, the hoodies. On the chest of the varsity jacket, it says unrecognized to unforgettable. Shorts, pants, so much more. Now, it has a logo now. So in case you're worried, just picture a V, the letter V, with the letter D tucked into the gap there. So that's his logo. Reflects his name, obviously. But yeah, they got sweatpants. They got long sleeve t-shirts, everything. It was just so quiet. There was no announcement. There was no nothing. You just went to the Spurs fan shop online. You can see it. So go check it out right now. Get it. I'm leaning towards the shorts. I like the shorts or the hoodie. So it's one of those two. I'm split between one of those two things. So go check it out as well. That wasn't the only gear the Spurs released. They announced the Year of the Dragon t-shirt line. So as y'all know, it is the Year of the Dragon. And it's a pretty cool t-shirt, all black, has a big dragon face on it, and it's biting on a basketball. And I believe in the lettering that says Spurs and then the Spurs logo for the Year of the Dragon. Yeah, so there it is. It's the Chinese New Year. Check it out. It's pretty cool. I actually think of all the stuff here, I think that's for sure going to be at the top of my list is that t-shirt. They also have announced a Varsity Blues line. So it's geared towards the women. So it's a varsity jacket. It's all like in a denim look. So again, go check it out. I think it's some good stuff. Now, Spurs Week begins. So in case you missed it, the Spurs announced Spurs Week is already underway. It's a week-long celebration for the I-35 series in Austin. Those are the two home games in Austin for San Antonio. I believe they're playing against Denver and Brooklyn. So they start, those games are 15th and 17th at the Moody Center up in Austin. So yeah, again, it's just a week-long celebration of that stuff. They have a Me Plus 3 ticket offer for the I-35 series. You pretty much get tickets. So it's a good way to get some good, cheap tickets. So apparently this is the Spurs way of embracing the Austin community, expanding that footprint in the region to make San Antonio Spurs the regional NBA team. So yeah, you could check out a full calendar of events at spurs.com/Spurs Week. So yeah, I mean, I think they're also having like a community concert out in Austin on March 14th from 2 to 7 p.m. at one of the Austin parks. I believe it's Austin Lady Bird Lake Park. Go check it out. There'll be live music, games, photo ops, free gifts. Again, free stuff. So go check it out. It's underway right now. All right, coming up next, we have Joe Garcia of Two Shots Podcast. We're going to be discussing whether or not the Spurs should trade out of the first round and then get into some comments you guys have left at the Locked On Spurs YouTube fan page. I talked about Grammarly. No matter what kind of work you do, how to communicate is very key. From emails, reports, presentations are all equally important to the collaboration of a group and what needs to be done. And then Grammarly can help in all that. Grammarly is your AI writing partner to help you communicate more effectively and efficiently so you can make a bigger impact at work. Look, I've been using the Grammarly app. It's perfect for me when I'm writing articles or for Kens5.com/Spurs. It's been very helpful. And as a matter of fact, I'm learning as I go. So I'm learning like, oh yeah, I got corrected on that. It should be like this. And so it's a great way to expand your knowledge and also just a very good, useful tool. So yeah, 93% of professionals using Grammarly Premium report that it helps them get work done and more work done. So yeah, very, very productive. And Grammarly works across 500,000 apps and websites. 96% of Grammarly users report that Grammarly has helped them craft more impactful writing. By understanding your writing and context, Grammarly provides relevant, personalized suggestions. So yeah, save time with one click and go from editing that could take hours to seconds. So make a bigger impact at work with Grammarly. Sign up and download a free what's for free at Grammarly.com/podcast. That's GRAMMARLY.com/podcast. Easier said, done. I want to talk to you about Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. Go to Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee right now. If you're in San Antonio, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive. That's in the 281-1604 area. Open every day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. You need a latte? They got it. Cold brew, got that too. Dairy alternatives, got that as well. Caffeine boost, like the Red Bull infused Lightning Bolt series, they got that. I recommend strawberry, by the way. We want to take it easy and don't want the big jolt. They have non-caffeine drinks as well. They got it all. The menu is great. Mini donuts. I think that's kind of like one of their secret treats on the menu. That is, hey, friendly staff, quick, convenient. Seriously, they will interact with fans across all social media. You interact with them, they'll talk with you, they'll tell you what the deals are. They got numerous deals popping up every week. Friendly staff, a wide variety of menu items. They even got the signature drink called the Mudslinger. I recommend that one as well. 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive, open every day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go there right now, San Antonio. Why? Because life is too short for bland coffee. And we are back right here on Locked On Spurs with Joe Garcia of Two Shots Podcast. Follow him on X at Two Shots Podcast. Do that right now. Joe, happy Monday. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Glad to be back on the show. It's always hard to, get our schedules to match up. So special day for us, Jeff.
It is. I actually reached out to Joe last week to come on but he wasn't available super late in the night, and that didn't work for me. But that's all right. We make things work. We always have a open door policy for him to come on here on Locked On Spurs. And by the way, we'll be talking about the YouTube network. I said network that Joe is running, the Animal City Sports Podcast Network. A lot of shows been popping up. Joe's going to brag about that in just a few seconds. But up first, Joe, let's talk about the upcoming NBA draft. Look, Joe, I think it's safe to say this current season is a wash. It's done. There's going to be no play-in, no playoffs. Nothing like that. Right now, it's just about development. Yay, Spurs, keep on doing what you're doing. But I think it's time to start looking about the draft. Now, we'll get into specific players and who's a prospect out there much later. But I want to talk to you about an overall thought. Now, at the rate the Spurs are going, Joe, they're likely to land with a top 10 pick. Maybe number one, maybe cross your fingers. But even if it doesn't, they're likely to land within the top 10. Joe, are you okay come draft night, you hear that the Spurs have traded out of the draft? What will make you happy? What will make you flip tables? Is that an acceptable option the Spurs can go with this upcoming offseason?
Look, man, the Spurs have a lot of upcoming draft capital, right? This year, they're already at 11 games played, not played, but won, which doesn't bode well for the San Antonio Spurs as a whole as a team. Shows you where the team is at. So if they're not getting a top 5 pick, my thing is use some of that draft capital you have, maybe trade out and see if you can drop down further into either first round, second round. And instead of getting best available players, start drafting for need of the team. There's still some quality players that you can get even in the later part of the draft that would actually help this team and help you solidify some of the positions that this team needs to fill. You need a 3-and-D guy. You need somebody who can actually shoot a 3 consistently. You need to pair somebody in the paint with Wemby that can actually be a defensive presence. So you're not just relying on one player to be there, because Wemby can't go ahead and do everything inside the paint. I mean, you do have Sohan, which is also one of the better defensive players. But beyond that, you need some help. They're one of the worst defensive teams in the league. They need to solidify that position. Moving further down in the draft, if you're not getting a top 5 pick, I think it's the way to go for this team's future. And hopefully get them better.
So in other words, what I'm hearing you is saying, if they land top 5, keep it, right?
Keep
Is
it.
that what I'm hearing you say?
Yep. If they go beyond the top 5, they're going to, to me, it would be more conducive for the team to go ahead and trade out of that top 5, trade that, 6, whatever, 7th pick they have.
So 6 through 10, let's say they land 6 through 10,
Yep.
then you say trade out, right? But
Trade out.
1 through 5, keep.
1 through 5, keep. If you're going to go out of that, go ahead and trade it away, move further down in the draft.
Yeah. The Spurs are going to have multiple first-round picks. They're their own. We'll see what happens with Toronto's not looking good. Charlotte, again, not looking good. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think Toronto's top 6 protected. So, again, they're in the tank right now. So, not looking good. But regardless, yeah, for me, I think if it's regardless where they land in the top 10, I still think you should trade out. I still think so. I get where you're trying to get at it. Keep a top 5. That young player could be valuable, but in what is considered a not so great / deep draft, I think that's the best thing to do. I think the Spurs can use whatever pick they land 1 through 10 as kind of thing to dangle in front of other teams if they want to make a big deal. I'm not saying Trae Young, but for example, Trae Young. Let's just say Atlanta says, yeah, he's on the table. Spurs are interested. And they could throw in a top 10 pick in this upcoming draft. That is something they can use. I just think if you keep your top 10 pick, Joe, this team is only going to get younger. And I think the consensus is even talk to me, talk to Sean Elliott too. He's even saying that, yeah, maybe the Spurs should have gone with some more veterans this season. I think he used that to bring in some established veterans. I'm not talking about guys on their last legs, guys that are going to see retirement in a couple seasons. I'm about young veteran guys that have some playoff experience, some winning mentality. Bring them in, and if it takes using a top 10 pick in this upcoming draft, so do it. So I'm at the point of, hey, 1 through 10, whatever you land, Spurs, get trade out, or maybe even trade back. What about trading back, Joe? What about just swapping your first round pick maybe for multiple late first round picks?
It's not a bad proposition, in my opinion. You can go ahead and still get some guys again that you're going to be able to draft for the need of the team. Kind of reminded me of that saying from Lord of the Rings. Remember when they're all ready to go into battle? Some of them have seen too many winners and some of them not enough. That's the dilemma that the Spurs have. You either have no experience or you have too much experience where your better days are behind you and you're almost ready to go ahead and call it quits, So you want some guys that are going to be kind of in the middle somewhere. They still got tread on the tire. I see what you're saying, but yeah, man, you can go ahead and still trade down and still be able to get some good picks, because let's be honest, Jeff, no matter what you do in the draft, even if you get a high pick, there's no guarantee that that player is going to pan out. While some of them have more skills than others, you just never know how any particular player is going to develop. That's a dilemma with the draft. You're taking a chance on this player being able to develop into the type of player you think is going to be able to fit within your system. So by taking a chance in the later part of the draft, I think that there's less of a risk of you actually, hey, if you have to go ahead and let this player go, it's not really that big of a hit, Yeah.
I think two Spurs fans probably would like to see a deal done on draft day, whether that is trading out of the first round and maybe getting multiple first rounders, or just trading out of the draft completely, bringing in something. Because there's this other aspect to it, Joe, is let's just say they keep their pick and they bring a young guy in. Guess what, Joe? The team gets younger. What are your thoughts about that?
The team's already young as it is, and you've seen what happened. They went ahead and let Doug McDermott fly. They went ahead and traded him away. You don't really have anybody that can shoot a three. You don't have anybody that knows how to win close games. Case in point, we saw the Sacramento game. Spurs up by 4. They wind up losing that game, especially on that last play with Devin Vassell going up for an easy dunk, kind of fumbles the ball away, and that's all she wrote, The Spurs need to be able to have some veteran leadership on the team so they learn how to win in these close game scenarios. When you have a young team, like Coach Pop keeps saying, oh, I'm proud of the team even after losses. That's great, Coach Pop, but at the end of the day, feeding into a losing culture, it's not going to be conducive to winning for this team. You want them to be able to win and know what it's like to win. Even if the team was a 500 team with some of the pieces and some of the veterans that they might, eventually put on this team, it helps the team get better because it changes the mentality. They're not frustrated. They're not as frustrated. They want to play tougher, and they want to play for the full 48 minutes because they're winning. So being able to get these right pieces and play with the team is imperative. The Spurs right now, honestly, Jeff, they're at the crossroads. What are you going to do? Are you going to trade the picks away? Are you going to trade out, get veteran players, or are you going to go and trade, maybe later in the draft and try to fill up some needs? I mean, they got to make a choice because Wemby, he's not going to be here a couple more years if the Spurs are still losing. He wants to be on a winning team.
Yeah, I think that's a road they're going to have to cross later on right now because he will be here for quite a while before that happens, unless he just, wants out. There's that. But barring that, but that's for a whole other show. I think the Spurs not going to say need, but it should really strongly consider of either trading out or trading back for multiple picks. This team needs to start, they're in the rebuild, but I think they need to, again, I'm not trying to say skip steps here, but I mean, you can quicken the steps by, using that draft capital. They got tons of them. They got tons of draft first round, second rounders, and then this upcoming draft. So why not? Why not try to, hit a home run? Hey, team with eyes on rebuilding, Toronto, for example. You got, one of your better guys out there. Let's get him on the Spurs, or hey, Atlanta, you got Trae Young, you're rid of him. Okay, we're in. Pick a player on a team that might be looking to rebuild, then go for it. And if the Spurs are well positioned to do that, it's just, man, if they keep that draft pick and they bring them on and they get younger, then it's going to be, what's the excuse thing going to be now, Joe? We're a young team. We just got younger. This is Popovich's youngest team in his tenure. There's that angle too. So I think flipping it either for additional first round picks and bringing in guys that are maybe I don't know, Joe, do college players even stay 3-4 years anymore? I don't know. Or, or what about this, Joe, going back to the old school draft and stash? The old school draft and stash, drafting a European player and stashing him away.
That was just a total waste of a pick because at the end of the day, if you wanted to get out of that, draft and stash, you still had to play said players so you could rescind rights. If you wanted to keep the rights, you had to pay them a certain amount of money to keep them as part of your team in case you wanted to use them. So we didn't even see a lot of these players. They never even sniffed the court here in the States, so that was a dumb move.
Yeah, exactly. But look, the Spurs are definitely, look, it's a good problem to have. You're going to get a first round pick, or multiple first round picks. We'll see how that shakes out. But so, yay, the Spurs, have some flexibility. It's just what to do. And it's a great problem for this franchise to have. You're getting multiple picks, you're possibly your own pick and whatnot. And do you keep it? Do you land that gem in the first round, or do you develop him overseas, or do you trade out? I mean, it's a good thing. The Spurs are well positioned, regardless of what path they choose. But what is the best path probably is to trade out or trade down and acquire more picks, or just I mean, look, they got so many other picks too, Joe. Why not just package them together and make a deal? Make a sweet deal for a team that's looking to rebuild. Okay, Oklahoma City did it, and there was Sam Presti. There you go. Years ago, and look what he has now. The team is now exploding on the scene, top team in the West. Perhaps the Spurs could take a page out of that book. So you have it. Joe and I are in agreement. We think the Spurs should do something with that first round pick, either keeping it, as Joe says, if it's 1 through 5, or me just flipping it no matter where they land in the top 10 to make a bold move and get this rebuild going a little bit faster. Not skipping steps, just taking more of a nice, longer, quicker stroll down the road to rebuilding. Hey, when we get back, we're going to be discussing you now, the Locked On Spurs fans, and what are y'all talking about that y'all left some comments on the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. That's coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. I want to touch about Stitch Fix. That instant confidence boost you get from an outfit that makes you look really good. That's what I get with Stitch Fix. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist who understands your style, size, and budget. They'll do all the shopping for you. It's the easiest way to update your wardrobe this season. Easily upgrade your wardrobe with professional stylists that helps you find new on-trend favorites that will work for you. You just give the stylist your size, your style, your budget preference. You order the boxes, and when you get them, guess what? Brand new wardrobe that fits you and is unique to you. No subscription required. They just send 5 just for me pieces and outfit recommendations, pro styling advice. It works. It keeps you looking good. And if you don't like it, you can send the rest back. So again, Stitch Fix has it all for you. They make it all so easy. Look, if you don't like to shop, they'll do it for you. They'll save you time, some effort. You get great outfits that make you look really good and make you feel good as well. So if you don't love something, you just send it back. Simple. Shipping, returns, and exchanges are always free. Style that makes you feel as good as you look. Get started today at stitchfix.com/lockedon. That's stitchfix.com/lockedon. stitchfix.com/lockedon. And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Joe Garcia, a.k.a. the Hulk. Is that true? Is that true? I heard you have the strength of Hulk.
No, I wish I did, man. Can you imagine all the work I get done? That'd be amazing.
Would you want to be Hulk big or a little more sleeker, slimmer, trimmer?
Nah, I'd rather be slimmer and sleeker, like the smart Hulk, dude. The best of both.
Oh no, smart Hulk was still jacked.
He wasn't as jacked though as
but he wasn't as jacked as Beast Hulk. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do want some size on you if you can have a Marvel MCU character physique.
Yeah, I would have some size. I mean, I already got some size to me as it is, you know.
Dun.
But the thing is like, true story, man. I can't use anything that's glass. Like I can't use glass cups or nothing like that. I always wind up breaking them all the time.
What are you talking about? You break them? Like you crush them in your hand?
Yeah, like I can't use glass, but I'm not allowed to use any glasses in the house. I only have like metal cups.
Plastic or something. Yeah,
plastic. Yeah, something, because every time they give me glass, I always break it all the time.
Are you a mutant?
No,
are you
bro,
a mutant?
I'm telling you, like if I touch the glass, like if I barely grab it and I try to be like, okay, I'm not gonna squash it or whatever, it shatters, it breaks, something happens to it. So I'm been banned from the house from using glass, dude.
You are okay. Just admit it. You're the Hulk. Apparently so. Apparently, I got the Hulk on Locked On Spurs right now.
That old man strength. It's that old man strength.
Oh,
bro.
it's old man strength. Okay, it's dad strength. It's that dad strength you developed.
Yeah, man.
Again, he is Joe Garcia. Follow him on X at Two Shots Podcast. He has a YouTube network. It's a network, everybody, called the Animal City Sports Podcast Network. It's him, Mike Jimenez, Brandon Medina, Rudy Campos. The list goes on and on. We'll be discussing that in just a few minutes. But, Joe, it's time to dive into what are Locked On Spurs fans commenting about, what's on their minds. Shocker, Joe, Trae Young. Pretend to be surprised. That's everybody was talking about. Seriously, you go to the Locked On Spurs YouTube page, it's all they're talking about is Trae Young this, Trae Young that. So since we can't get to everybody's Trae Young thought, we'll start off with one. Okay, this is from Juan Gonzalez. Thank you, Juan, for the comment. He says, I don't think it's going to take much as everyone thinks to get Trae. Hear me out. The Hawks cannot pick a path forward without their own picks back. This gives the Spurs the leverage and advantage over teams. If Atlanta chooses to rebuild, which sounds like they're trying to do by trading Trae Young and DeJounte Murray, it won't matter what the Spurs have their picks. They're between a rock and a hard place. Here's his offer. 2025 first round, but he says not theirs because it's Cooper Flags. Then 2026 swap, their 2027, and 5 second-round picks, take it or leave it. So thank you, Juan, for that comment. Joe, in other words, he's saying it's not going to really take much to get Trae Young out of Atlanta. Agree or disagree?
I think it will take quite a bit to get Trae Young out of Atlanta. I mean, they would have to give up the picks, of course, that they had with Atlanta. They'll give them back. But along with that, the asking price is quite high. They're going to want several players in return in regards to the picks as well. One of those players would no doubt probably be Keldon Johnson. They're probably going to be even wanting to have one Devin Vassell as well, you know, and maybe even another player. It could be thrown in the mix. So if you want to go ahead and get Trae Young, the asking price is too high. I think you're going to have to gut the team in order to make that deal happen. I don't know if Spurs fans would be willing to go ahead and part with some of their fan favorites.
but that's the thing, Joe. The Spurs can't afford to do it. So let's just say Atlanta says, okay, here's the bill for Trae Young. Are you going to be? I mean, with the amount of draft picks they have and the amount of flippable players they have on the roster right now, they can make it work. They say, I'm making this up. You want your draft picks back? Here you go, and it's not going to hurt them. You want, I'm making this up. Keldon Johnson and I'm again making this up, just making it up. Trey Jones and whatnot. Here you go. So they can do that. So they can almost afford any sticker price shock to the system. But Joe, you talk about gutting the roster. There is a point to that because then it almost feels like they're starting all over again.
Yep, exactly.
Starting from scratch. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, how are they going to get better? Even if you have Trey and you don't have anybody else that can kind of help out on the defensive end, because let's be honest, Trey, he's going to be a guy that's going to put up buckets. He can go ahead and get the ball to Wemby, lob the ball to Wemby. He's great at doing those things. But beyond that, the team's not going to be able to play any defense, even worse than they are now. And I'm not saying that the Spurs have to be a defensive powerhouse, but you have to be able to at least play defense at crucial moments. And that's the thing that the team can't do. And especially like getting down, in the crunch time. Again, like with Sacramento, up by 4, you just let the lead dwindle, and you can't go ahead and stop the team in those crucial moments to win the game, even if it's by a point or two. A win is a win, no matter how you get it. But they're incapable of getting those stops at crucial moments. If you get somebody like Trey, they're going to get even worse defensively if you gut the team, because you don't really have anybody out here who's going to really help you on the defensive end. So there's the plus and the minus to everything. If they get Trey, great. But if they can get a high pick to pair with that trio, or that duo right there, maybe you got something in the making. Maybe it's worth doing that. So if the Spurs can see the benefit and it works out as far as the numbers are concerned, I wouldn't be mad at it. I would welcome Trae Young to play alongside Wemby. I would be excited for that.
Yeah. And for as much as his defensive or lack of defense, Wemby can clean it up. I think Wemby can clean up everybody's lack of defense in this league, seriously. But yeah. I mean, look, it's a good comment there, Juan. Yes, the Spurs can afford it. I don't know if Atlanta will make it easy for them or any other team that's willing to make a deal for Trae Young, because they're going to ask for they're going to give a big bill, aren't they, Joe?
Yeah, man. They be like me trying to make a deal with Jeff for some of the art that's behind him right now. I don't think he would be willing to give that up. I
might give up one just like to tease you, to tempt you to get a new one. Be like, okay, here's another one, Joe. You want another one? Yeah, kind of get you addicted. All right, that's good comment there, Juan. We appreciate it. All right, next topic is about trading for a player. Now, we talked about in the first segment, the last segment of Locked On Spurs, about, hey, maybe the Spurs can look for a team that may be willing to part with a young veteran player that has a lot of experience, but yet still young, kind of in that mix. Well, somebody had one up here. Now, it is from William Cartwright. He says, if they make a move, the Spurs, that is, and give up assets, I would prefer Garland. Now, he's referring to Darius Garland in Cleveland. He is a pass first and being underutilized in Cleveland. His numbers are down because of Donovan Mitchell. He's saying that Spurs should target Darius Garland. Now, what do you think about Darius Garland? He could fit with the Spurs team, Joe.
He could fit, but what's his size here? You're talking about somebody who's maybe is he 6, listed at 6'1", I believe. He's still not a lot of height there. What is you?
Guard, though. I mean, he's a point guard.
I see it. You got a point guard. You already have a point guard though in Trey Jones. How is Garland gonna match up with Trey Jones? Is he gonna be better? Is it gonna?
Well, I mean, offensively, he would be better than Trey Jones. 18.2 points per game this season for his career. 18.5. He's averaging about 6.1 assists this year. 6.6 for his career. And shooting 34% from the 3-line, Joe. That's a big increase for Trey Jones. It would be an upgrade. I would be okay with that, Joe. Your thoughts?
I wouldn't mind it, but I'm just saying at the end of the day, I don't know if the Spurs are willing to go ahead and make that move. I mean, that Brian Wright is on the clock. Let's put it like that. He's going to have to do something. You can't just sit pat and not do anything to make this team better. They've already shown you they need help. At this point, I wouldn't be opposed to it at all. I would like that addition, especially if they were to move Garland as a starting point and then go ahead and have Trey Jones come off the bench. The problem, though, is when you get these guards that are like 6'1", 6'2", they're still undersized, you know? They're not going to be out there, let's say, to go ahead and play any type of consistent defense. They're going to be out there to facilitate the ball, get the ball to the open man, and just go ahead and knock down some buckets here and there. But if, Garland can go ahead and play better than one Trey Jones as far as the offense is concerned, I'm all for it.
Yeah, exactly. And you look at his playoff, we made the playoffs in 2023, so I mean, first round, at least with Cleveland. So there's some playoff experience from a point guard, but nevertheless, I would be okay. I think that would be an upgrade to Trey Jones right now. And even if it helps Trey Jones come off the bench, I think you do it. He is an all-star, Darius Garland, that is. So he is an all-star point guard. So I would be okay with that. And even if Cleveland wants to stick a sticker price on there, that will shock everybody, even the Spurs. Again, the Spurs have the assets to do that.
But here's the thing that I'm going to present to you, though. Garland also has to want to come here and want to play with the San Antonio Spurs. But if the Spurs reach out to him and he's like, "No, I'm good. I don't want to go over there." You have to have players are going to want to come over here if they feel that the team can win, And right now, the way that it's currently constructed, I don't know a lot of players that are going to want to come over here and play, even if you give them money. What's good the incentive to them? At the end of the day, a lot of these players also make money based on bonuses. Are you going to get your bonus money because you're not going to go to the playoffs? I mean, that's the incentive. That's the thing that we're looking at. So while in theory, all these ideas that we throw out there are great, you have to ask yourself, does that player also want to come over here?
Yeah, and also too, will Cleveland even want to part with Garland? Again, an all-star point guard. There's that, but interesting. Look, at the end of the day, it just shows the Spurs should be, and I hope they are, major players in the offseason as far as wheeling and dealing, draft day deals, trades or something like that, just to improve the squad because they have the tools, the resources, and the finances. They got a lot of money, Joe. A lot of money.
Not more than
to make things happen.
Not more than Jeff.
Easy up there. Easy up there. Easy up there. No. If I had Spurs kind of money, I think I'd be doing Locked On Spurs from the top of the Tower Americas right now, eating a baked potato and surf and turf or something like that.
Hey,
but no,
we don't call you the Jefe for nothing, man.
No, it's nice. See, I don't know why you go down this road, Joe. But nevertheless, again, good comments, you guys. We appreciate y'all leaving comments at the Locked On Spurs YouTube page. Again, good old Locked On Spurs YouTube page. And that tells what's on your mind as the season winds down. Joe, we've been talking about it. Alamo City Sports Podcast is now a network. Tell us what's developing on your neck of the woods.
Yeah, so on the network, we have a new show that came out. It's called Generation Duo with Brandon Medina and Johnny Tejeda. They've just released a new episode, so make sure you check that out. They're a lot of fun to watch and listen to. It's kind of a comedic podcast that's centered around pop culture. So they always have a lot of interesting takes. So go ahead and check it out. We just finished recording a new episode of the Alamo City Sportscast that aired over the weekend on Friday. So make sure you go and check that out as well. And we do have a new show that has joined the fray here, and that is Rudy Campos Jr., host of Sweep the League. He's got a
frequent guest here.
Yeah, he's doing the afternoon show now. So me and Mikey Menace do the morning show. We go from about 10:15 to about 11:30 a.m. And Rudy and Sweep the League, they got you covered in the afternoon from 2 o'clock all the way to 3:30. They're doing a great job. A lot of sports knowledge being thrown around there. So make sure you go and check them out. And, if you want to go ahead and support the show and what we do, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate that.
Hey, Joe, speaking of YouTube, I just was going through some of the YouTube comments left on the Locked On Spurs page. Somebody left a comment saying they actually saw you fight Thanos hand-to-hand combat and win. Is that true?
I don't know. Maybe I could throw hands with Thanos. I mean, I'm breaking glass over here, Jeff.
He is Joe Garcia of Two Shots Podcast. Again, follow him on X at Two Shots Podcast. Hey, we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts. Check out Locked On Sports Today, 24/7 streaming channel only on YouTube. National, regional, local guest host, or we're all there. 24/7. Locked On Sports Today. Go subscribe right now. Find Locked On Spurs again on YouTube, Ken's 5 Plus app, iTunes, Spotify. The list goes on and on. So for Joe the Hulk Garcia, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.